Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest,
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
innovate,
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
and inspire.
I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I have a very special guest. He is somebody who is absolutely crushing it in the real estate industry, and he was crushing it so well that him and I decided to partner together on a venture that we're going to talk about later in this episode. But the person we are interviewing today is my good friend, Brian Davila. How you doing, Brian?
I am excited.
Excited? You were telling me you're a little nervous before the show.
A little nervous. You got a big setup here.
Well, we said a little prayer, so I think you'll be good. So let's just jump right into it, man. Why don't you just give us your story, quick rundown of who you are and how you got to where you're at today?
All right. So I'll start from the very beginning. All right. I was actually born in Puerto Rico.
Okay. I'm actually going there in like 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Was born in Puerto Rico. I moved to Las Vegas when I was like 5 years old.
Right.
Single mom. She raised me and my sister by herself. Not a lot of support. When I was like 15 years old, ninth grade, started doing really bad in high school.
And I was out here in Vegas, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Clark High School.
Okay.
So pretty much after freshman year, I just kind of gave up on high school. When I was like 19, started working. And I pretty much was hanging out with the wrong people, started, doing drugs, drinking, daily.
This is back in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 15 is when it like really started to go down.
Okay.
So
You didn't tell me all this before we became
Yeah.
partners, but okay.
yeah,
Go on.
it's dark at first, but it gets better.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people at our company, originally, we never did background checks or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then like later on, they're like, yeah, I was in prison.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, didn't make it to prison, but didn't finish high school. And I think my life today is completely different. So when I tell people like, I dropped out of high school, I was addicted to drugs, all these things, they don't believe it.
Right.
They're like, oh, dude, you're so nice. Like,
I would have never known.
yeah, people would never guess. But and then around 24 years old, I used to work 2 jobs. I worked graveyard at the Palms Casino, cleaning bars and like bar backing. And then I worked at Wet Republic. And I also was going to college at the same time at CSN. And I just felt like I was kind of going nowhere. I felt like I was working nonstop. And I actually opened a barbershop with my best friend at the same time.
Bro, you don't even have hair.
Yeah. I did have hair back then.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was failing, literally like going down the drain.
Okay.
And a guy came in one day, and I remember he had a Mazda, and he had like a big Nixon watch.
That's what impressed you.
That's what, the Mazda. I was like, whoa, I had a like Dodge Intrepid or, a Toyota or something like that.
Right.
And I was like, bro, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
it's 12 o'clock and you're here. What are you doing? He was like, yeah, I do real estate. I was like, how much do people in real estate make? He's like, 50,000. I was like,
Wait, so you were cutting his hair? You were a barber?
no. I was just partnering.
I got
so,
it. Okay.
Yeah. And he was like 50,000. I was like, dude, that's like, I make like 36,000 or something like that. Like not
Yeah.
as much as that. So I was like, how do I do this? He told me about Key Real Estate. I went to Key Real Estate. There's a teacher there named Teddy. I don't know if you know him,
I don't know.
but very inspiring old guy.
Okay.
And he had like a Mercedes G-Class, something like that. And I was like, wow, like this guy makes a lot of money. And he told me, he told the class, he was like, my first year in real estate, I made $100,000. And I was like, what? Like, whoa. So I literally dropped out of college. Like I didn't go back. like at all. Like I never made it back. I got my real estate license, and as soon as I sold my first house, I completely like stopped showing up to both my jobs. I didn't give a 2-week notice.
You're like, I'm out, dude.
Yeah, and I bought a BMW. I leased a BMW before
you even made a deal?
I made a deal. I leased a BMW.
Just to like have the look.
I was just inspired.
You were like, it's going to work out.
Yeah. I was all in. I remember I didn't know how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
I didn't know what escrow was. My mom's house at the time was going through foreclosure. It was
a mess.
It was a mess, but I didn't really understand what was going on. So I think also sometimes people like me and you, we don't understand that people who have no idea about real estate, they have literally no clue what's going on. I ask people sometimes like, hey, how much money do you think I make? And they're like, I don't know, like 40,000. So yeah, and then after that, I ended up marrying my wife in 2016. I moved to California, and 2018, I started investing in real estate.
Okay.
And now, I'm flipping real estate, wholesaling, and helping people list their homes and buy sometimes.
I love it, dude. So let's talk about just your career in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when you got started, you went to work for my friend Craig Tan.
Yes.
Who, you've shared with me, it was a very good mentor for you on the realtor side. And
100%.
He
And
taught
man
you
side.
sales and really just how to be a man, I should say.
Yes. Yeah.
So what was that experience like?
So when I was in real estate school, I was like, okay, like I don't know nothing about real estate. How am I going to like figure this out? So I heard of Craig. I looked him up on Zillow, and I saw he had a bunch of listings. So I'm like, okay, like this guy knows what he's doing. Like he has a bunch of these houses for sale. So I literally found his office, and I walked into his office, and I asked the front lady, I was like, hey, I'm looking for Craig Tan.
Yeah.
And he walked by.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, Craig, I just got my real estate license. I want to come work for you.
Right.
I interviewed with him.
And he don't even really take newbies.
He, at the time, no, he didn't really like to take new agents.
Right.
He had a small team, and they were more experienced agents.
Right.
And in my interview with him, I was like, Craig, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it.
Right.
If you tell me to do something right now, I'm going to do it right now. That was my shot. I had no idea about real estate or how it worked. I was just like, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it.
Right.
And, thank God he let me join his team. And that's how my career in real estate started.
Yep. So you started out as, just a normal realtor,
Mm-hmm.
and, you're showing homes here in Vegas, figuring the game out,
Mm-hmm.
just doing all that. And eventually you end up moving to California and leaving.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same things out there, I assume, everything you learned here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then you said in 2018, that was when you're like, all right, I want to get into investing.
Yes.
What did that look like? Why,
So in 2018 in California, calling expired listings is very competitive. More competitive than Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So I was struggling to get listings because I was a listing agent. And I was like, okay, like how I need to figure something out because this isn't working, calling expireds. So I saw a video on YouTube about notices of default. So I started cold calling NODs, notice of defaults. And I noticed a lot of these properties, they were just like really messed up. They were like uninhabitable. The sellers did not want to do like a regular, like, let people in and open house. And so I started having to double end deals, have investors come in, or they would represent themselves. Like sometimes I didn't try to get the double end. And I asked them, I was like, hey, like you're buying this house, like what are you going to do with it? They're like, oh, I'm going to flip it.
Yeah.
I was like, how much do flippers make? And they were like, oh, like not that much. I was like, okay. And then it happened again with a different investor. I was like, hey, how much do you guys make? He was like, oh, like we don't make that much. I was like, okay. So they're like hiding something from me. And then I sold another one like that. And I was like, hey, bro, like, how much are you going to make on this deal? Like, straight up, like, how much are you going to make? He's like 60,000. And I was like, dude, I just worked on this short sale for like 6 months, literally 6 to 8 months. And I'm making 3% of like 180,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
And then I got to pay my broker and I got to pay all these other people. So after that, I was like, okay, I want to start flipping houses.
Right.
Yeah. And then I reached out to you shortly after that.
Yeah. How did that all happen? Because I have my version of what I remember, but
Yeah.
what even made you reach out at that point? Because it's not like I had a coaching program or anything when we first started talking.
So at the time, you did not have a big following.
Yeah.
So I say you were undervalued.
I like Bitcoin.
Yeah. I was like, this guy, he's not a guru. He doesn't have a big following. And I really resonated with your message about family, lifestyle, religion. I asked you one time, what's your favorite part about flipping? And you're like, I like that I employ my sister, I employ my dad, So I was like, okay, like this guy's legit. He's not going to just try to sell me something. Mm-hmm. And the first time I reached out to you, you actually didn't reply.
We've had other people on the show and they said the same thing. I need to really step up my game.
You didn't reply, but then I followed up with you. And
as a good agent would.
Yeah. I didn't take offense to it. I was like, okay, he's probably busy. And then you came out with your book in 2018.
18, yep.
Yep. I bought your book. And then I saw that you were going to start a course.
Yeah, I had my online course.
Yeah. And then I bought your course.
Yeah.
And then you were going to have an event.
Yeah.
And then you were doing a live on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like the first person to sign up.
Yeah, that event, when I first announced it, I was like, yeah, we'll do an event, see how it goes. It sold out in like 2 days. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember I was the first person to sign up because I just believed in what you were doing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people are like, they're trying to scam me,
right?
Or they just want my money. But I did my due diligence on you. I actually would screenshot your deals. And I would go in the MLS and I would be like, okay, does he own this house?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he does own this house. And then,
Yeah.
So I did my due diligence and that's pretty much how I got in contact with you.
I love it, dude. You know what's funny is just with the internet now, it's so hard to hide anything, you know? And so I always tell people this on social media. I'm like, just be transparent with who you are.
Yeah.
Don't try and act like you're bigger than you are. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
And good or bad, I've talked about losing, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've talked about making millions of dollars. Like, it just is what it is. Like, these are the facts. And if next year I end up having a terrible year and whatever happens, I'll share that story. And either way, you got to just take the punches where they are.
Yeah. But I do understand how I've invested into other small courses and I felt like I was ripped off, to be honest. So I understand like it does happen, but I think it's important to do your due diligence,
right?
Because I've paid thousands of dollars for a course here, a course there, and it was empty, like just empty promises. Like, it's pretty much like, hey, text me if you need anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sucks.
Well, what's funny is when I first started doing education in 2018, the reason was I started getting asked so much, can you mentor me? Can you teach me? And that was why I wrote the book, because I got tired of people asking. It's not that I got tired of it, but I got tired of giving the same response over and over again.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll just create this guide that it's like, hey, I don't have time to like repeat the same things over and over again. Here you go. And, the book has sold thousands and thousands of copies. And then I realized that obviously people want a course too. But, today people learn visually for the most part. Not many people like reading books.
Yeah.
And so made the course, been super successful. But, I didn't have coaching at the time because I was like, you know what? I'm like focused on my own business. I don't want to coach people. And to be quite honest, I want to really build mine up and develop systems and processes where I feel like, yeah, you know what? I know exactly what I'm doing at this point.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of people, the moment they have success, they're like, time to coach.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to wait. And you actually, I remember you asked me, you're like, dude, what would it cost to coach me? What would it cost to coach me? I was like, bro, I don't even know. I don't even do one-on-ones or anything.
Yeah.
And, eventually I did launch the coaching program at the end of 2019. So like maybe a year and a half later after my book and, at that point, a bigger following, whatever. And, you were once again one of the first people to sign up. No. And it's been a very successful program now, the All-Star program. It's been over a year now, and I think we got like 70 people, in the group all across the country. So it's been amazing to see. And I think it's just like all the patience it had paid off, People try and do stuff too quick at not the right timing. But tell me about like, what's your investing career like now versus the realtor side? Like, which side are you more passionate about? Which side's a better use of your time? All that stuff.
I would say now I'm like 90% real estate investing and like 10%, real estate sales.
Right.
So if I get a referral with someone that I have a relationship with and I trust, I will work with them to help them buy or sell.
Right.
But most of my time is spent, buying deals,
right.
Or trying to wholesale them or, going through that process.
Right. And I want to just give some context for the viewers. You and I had talked, you were making multiple six figures as an agent.
Yeah.
And then to give up making multiple six figures as an agent to saying, you know what, I think my time's better spent doing this, investing, and then doing that and making even more.
Yeah.
In such a short amount of time. How old are you now?
29.
29. You've already made millions of dollars, and you would have kept more if you're not in California.
Yeah.
But,
That's true.
To be able to have made millions of dollars before you're 30 is like, even to me, thinking about it now, I'm like, that's freaking insane.
Yeah.
And we're talking, and it's so funny with the internet. It's like, yeah, I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur. And it's like, I sold $1 million of Amazon product. It's like, yeah, you made, $100,000. Like, I'm not sneezing at it, but you're not a 7-figure entrepreneur. If I use that definition, I'd be a freaking 9-figure entrepreneur, having sold, all these houses over the years.
Yeah.
Going off of what I actually sold the house for.
Yeah.
But it's kind of stupid that they do it like that. But you're a legit 7-figure entrepreneur talking about net. And so, that was one of the reasons why, as I saw you grow these last 3 years, just from when you started, when you first hit me up back in 18 to now where we're at in 2021, I was like, man, dude, I got to figure out a way to like get this guy like more in depth with me. Not in depth, but I want to work with him on other things, not just teach him how to, flip houses. Like at this point, and we still talk and all that stuff, but I've been teaching you for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm really excited about the new program we're launching together. As many of you guys know, I got my All-Star coaching program where it's mainly for people with experience, trying to scale their business. We don't really have a program for newbies who know absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And mainly because I didn't have the capacity to teach them. My way of teaching newbies is like, go read my book.
Yeah.
Go watch YouTube's. Like, that's how I teach you. Like, I just don't have the time to, go handhold people from scratch. I enjoy working with people who are already above that and trying to make it to the next level and build company structure and all that. I enjoy that. But there was a big gap missing that I just couldn't figure out how to fill it until you and I started talking.
Yeah.
Because you came up with the idea. You're like, dude, I want to help a lot of people, but I don't know how to do it. And I was like, I think I know how to do it, And so, we partnered up on this rookie coaching program, and, we'll link to it down below. But it is, for me anyways, like, I think it's going to be the creme de la creme of the the brand new program for rookies. I mean, it's only $100 a month, and you're going to get multiple Zoom calls every week with Brian. I'm also going to be on some of those Zoom calls. You know, we got the community Facebook group. You're going to learn everything. I just don't see how you could spend $100 a better way.
Yeah. And when I first started, if they would have had something like this, I would have been in.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, I see a lot of these Patreon groups and, you know, whatever groups, OnlyFans groups, but it's like there's a lot of $100 groups or even cheaper, but they're not by people actually doing a lot of deals. They're just kind of like fan groups.
Yeah. Or they only talk about like mindset.
Yeah.
They don't teach you how to actually flip houses.
Right. So that's what I'm excited for about this group, is that we're going to be going over the details of evaluating deals, you know, how to find deals, how to manage these contractors, how to raise money, how to wholesale, you know, we don't have to only flip. Like we both wholesale as well. So I'm excited about it, man. And I think it's going to be a big thing. And I'm super pumped to be partnering with you on it. Cause I think it's going to affect a lot of people.
Yeah. And my goal is to make it the best community for real estate investors and wholesalers.
Right.
Because I think in that community, you're going to find deals.
Right.
Because there's going to be other people doing them. You're going to find money.
Right.
Like even in our current coaching program, there's private money investors in there.
Oh yeah. People partnering up all the time on deals.
Exactly. And then you're going to get people who are at the same level as you. So you're going to learn from their mistakes, and they're also going to learn from your mistakes.
Right.
You know, and then you could always reach out to me, and I'll be able to, you know, fix your mistakes before you make them.
Before you make them.
Yeah.
Let you know you're about to walk into one. But, you know, here's the thing. I've let you know many mistakes you're going to make.
Yeah.
And you still walked into them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hard-headed, but I wish I would have listened to you a couple times, but yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm excited about that program. You know, if you guys are interested in it, you can go to futureflipper.com. You'll see it. It's the rookie coaching program. You know, once again, that's futureflipper.com. Or, you know, if you go to ryanpineda.com, you'll also see, you know, all the programs and stuff. Here's a quick word from our sponsors. Many people want to talk about how much money they make, but what's more important is how much money they keep. That's where my company, TrueBooks CPA, comes in. We help real estate investors and business owners across the country with all types of tax and accounting services. This includes bookkeeping, tax planning, tax preparation, and CFO consulting. I can tell you, my businesses have exploded since I started taking my accounting seriously. And if you want to do the same, you can go book a free call at truebookscpa.com. Once again, that's truebookscpa.com. One of the best ways to get off-market real estate deals is through cold calling. And if you want to reach as many people as fast as possible, then you need Batch Dialer. With their predictive dialing technology and built-in CRM, Batch Dialer is one of the top dialers in the industry. You can switch between single or multi-line dialing, as well as do voicemail drops and call recordings. And for being a listener of The Ryan Pineda Show, you'll get a 7-day free trial. Just go to batchdialer.com/Ryan. Once again, that's batchdialer.com/Ryan. One of the hardest parts about real estate investing is finding a good contractor. That's where Southwestern Custom Construction comes in. They've been doing remodels in Nevada and Arizona since 2006. As a fully licensed and bonded general contractor, they're able to help with any type of renovation, all the way from an entry-level fixer-upper to a custom luxury home. Southwestern Custom Construction specializes in working with investors. I've personally used them on many of my projects, so I know their team is legit. If you want to get a bid on a project, head over to customhomenow.com. Once again, that's customhomenow.com. Now, back to the show. So that's an exciting thing that we're doing. I would also just say, man, giving some value. I think a lot of people who are thinking about doing this are probably realtors like yourself.
Yeah.
Or thinking about, should I get licensed to invest? Like one way or the other. I think it crosses everyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think as far as being a realtor? How has it helped you as far as the investing game goes?
Before I bought my first house, I think I already sold like 100 properties.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of experience, So I think that gave me a lot of confidence. And it gave me a lot of understanding of how real estate works.
Right.
So if you're a realtor, I think you have even a more chance of getting like, big deals because you come across them first. Like I said, I was listing properties that
you made 15 grand on, you could have made 150 grand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happened a lot more than once. An average agent, I think, comes across at least 2 deals a year that are flips.
Right.
But they just don't understand.
Right.
Or they're scared or they don't know how it works.
Right.
So I think if you're a realtor and you're getting into investing, you should keep in mind, you could get rich selling real estate, but you could get wealthy buying real estate.
Yeah.
So,
and the one level further that they always say is if you start holding the real estate, that's when you get really wealthy.
yeah.
And that's one of my philosophies anyway. I think a lot of people try and get too passive too quick.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh man, I need to get financial freedom. I'm going to buy a rental property.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you need to build up capital.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the game. Build up capital. And flipping teaches you a lot of things
Yeah.
for rentals. It teaches you how to find good deals. It teaches you how to rehab them and all this stuff. And you do that in volume while building up capital.
Yeah.
It makes keeping rentals very easy.
Yeah. And I have a lot of people who they're agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was a top producing agent. I sold over 50 homes a year, by myself.
Right. No team.
No team.
That's
A
crazy.
TC, and that's it.
Bro, I don't even think in my career I sold 50 homes as an agent.
Yeah. So I've been, a top producer. But when you're a top producing agent, you're working on your client's time.
Yeah.
If your client wants to see a house on Sunday and that's their only time, guess what? You're going to have to go show them, or you're going to have to,
Or you're not a top producer.
Yeah.
Or
you're-
hire a team, whatever.
Exactly. Where real estate investing, I literally work less than 4 hours a day,
Yeah.
and I make double what I was making as a realtor.
Right.
So some people don't understand that. But, I always say I like the real estate investing lifestyle. I love not working the weekends.
Yeah.
I haven't worked on the weekends and I don't even know how long, And as
Yeah.
a realtor, you're going to have to work weekends.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah. If your client calls you at 7 p.m. at night, you're going to have to take that call.
Yeah.
As a real estate investor, there's no one really calling you.
And that's kind of what I think that was the reason I failed as an agent, because of that. I never wanted to feel like somebody was my boss.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be at the whim of one of my clients. I didn't want to, show homes on the weekends and all the things you described. And even now, when I look at starting new businesses or new ventures, it's always, hey, I got to protect the things that are most important to me. I did a podcast about scheduling. Make sure you guys go watch that or listen to it. And it was the same thing. It was like I first start off creating my schedule and my lifestyle. And I'm like, hey, I'm not working weekends. I don't want to take calls at night, but I still want to accomplish a lot of things. Like I want to be really successful. So how do I fit the rest of that in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But realtors kind of don't operate that way.
It's tough.
They let the clients dictate their life, essentially.
And I also looked at, I wanted to make $1 million. That was my goal. Net $1 million, never gross. So I was like, okay, if I want to net $1 million as a realtor, I'm going to have to sell more than 100 houses.
Yeah.
That's 100 home inspections, 100 appraisals.
Well, and you probably actually have to sell more because at that point, your time is limited. So now
Yes.
you're doing a team.
Exactly. So, 100 clients calling you
Yeah.
to net $1 million in real estate investing, you could do it with less than 50 deals.
Yeah,
That's
for
like
sure. Depending on your
max.
market. I mean, even in California, you could do it in 10 deals.
Yeah, or like 25 deals, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But that makes sense to me. And selling more than 100 homes, that doesn't make sense to me.
So you had mentioned that you're not doing the weekends anymore. I know that before you were cold calling expireds and NODs and stuff like that. And I know you went through, the Tom Ferry training and method and all that stuff. So you were waking up early in the morning, busting out those calls.
Yeah, I used to wake up at 4.
4?
Yeah, I used to wake up at 4, go to the gym, get dressed, put on a suit, go to the office, get there at 6, role play, start calling.
What time did you start calling sellers?
Legally, it's supposed to be 8 a.m. So,
Dude, when I hear that, I'm like, dude, like if I'm a seller and these guys are calling me at like 7 or even 8, I'm
Yeah.
pissed. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
But speed. I mean, everyone's calling them.
Yeah. Everyone's calling before 8, the good,
Hey,
agents.
you know the good agents, the gray agents.
Inspired agents.
Yeah, it's one of our missions, inspire. So, it's fun. It reminds me of, for all you sports fans, if any of you guys watch the NBA free agency, they're like technically not allowed to negotiate with any free agents until like midnight on the day, right?
Yeah.
But like 12:01, they're already signed. Like,
yeah. And you're
it's
like, whoa.
how did Kevin Durant already know he was going to the Nets in 1 minute? Like,
Yeah.
because they're talking to him beforehand. They all know.
I would literally get listings sometimes the day it expired.
Yeah.
And the old realtor's sign would still be up front.
Yeah.
And I would like take a picture with their sign as a joke. But yeah, that was the game.
Yeah. But you're glad to be out of that game.
100%. 100%.
Do you cold call at all anymore?
No.
Yeah.
If I'm bored, if I'm like really bored, like, and I have nothing to do.
You'd be like, this, I can at least make some money.
Yeah. And I do it like,
It's a
I'll call
habit.
a specific list.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, I want to call multifamily 5 unit to 10 unit in San Bernardino that's paid off.
Right.
And I'm not going to say, hey, do you want to sell? No? Okay, thanks. I say, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I want to, build a relationship with you for when you do sell. I would like to be the guy you sell to,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's funny about my career is that I think most people, whether they're realtors or wholesalers, they start out the way you're explaining it. Like they're going to go hold open houses. They're going to cold call. They're going to do all that stuff. But if I'm being honest with everyone on camera, I've never held an open house, nor have I ever cold called.
Really?
Yeah, because I just, number one, never wanted to. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But number two, I was just like, there's a better way to find deals. Like if I was going to go find a deal, I would go on Craigslist because, that was my home for couch flipping and stuff. So I would like look on Craigslist for wholesalers or for sale by owners. And to me, that's not a cold call. That's a very targeted call.
Yeah.
Versus like getting on the dialer and just sitting there for hours, like running through, data. So
I used to cold call like 6 hours a day.
I know.
Yeah.
I hear that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hear that from lots of agents. I'm like, I've never cold called 6 hours in my life. How the heck did you guys do that? That's insane.
I was just like addicted to it because it felt like I had a slot machine that I could just pull as many times.
And
as
at some point it's going to hit.
Yeah. So I loved it. I did. I really loved it. And I'm grateful that Craig taught me that because when you're cold calling, you're also learning. Because
You're getting better at sales.
You're getting better at sales, 1, and 2, like, let's just say you talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm going through foreclosure. Okay, what is that? Oh, well, they're going to take my house on the 31st. Oh, okay. You start learning the details about real estate. So
yeah. No, and I think it has a ton of value. I tell that to our students now, and I'm like, they're like, well, should we hire people to cold call and stuff? You do it, Ryan. Like, so when I say I haven't cold called, my company does.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
But they're like, should we hire VAs?
Yeah.
And if you go to our rookie coaching program, we'll tell you no.
Yeah.
If you're brand new, you need to get on the dialer and start calling people and developing your skills.
At least for a little bit.
Yeah. Like, how can you train somebody to do something you don't know how to do?
Yeah.
That's how I look at everything.
Exactly.
Building my real estate business, I did every role. I was acquisitions, I project management, I raised money, I was the listing agent, I sold my homes for a little bit. And eventually, once I mastered it and realized it's not a good use of my time, all right, great. Let's start hiring out some stuff.
Yeah.
But I never really hired out things from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. I will never cold call again like how I used to.
Right.
But, if you're just starting off, like you said, you should do it. Get your reps in. And another thing you learn about when you're cold calling is you get the same objections over and over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And then you start learning like, okay, when someone says they have a friend that's in the real estate business, you learn an objection to handle that.
Right.
And then you could, pass that to your cold callers.
Yep.
So they'll pass the objection and then set the appointment for you.
Yeah. Hey, is your friend full time? You know,
Yeah.
do you know how many deals they've done?
Yeah. I'll say, who is your friend?
Yeah.
And
I don't know him. Never
Yeah.
heard of him.
Let's pull him up on Zillow. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, it says he sold one house this year.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident with someone like that?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they're your friend, but you know, at the end of the day, business is business.
yeah. Or I would hit him with like, well, since this is such a big transaction, don't you think you should at least get a second opinion?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's meet today at 3.
Yeah. No obligation.
Yeah.
No, I think sales skills is like I say this all the time too. So in today's society, the best like realtor doesn't win, or the best anybody doesn't win. Like as far as talent, the best marketer wins and the best salesperson wins.
Yeah.
You know, like at that's it. Like you might suck at identifying homes and like understanding market values and all these things. And you may have no idea how to make a home worth more.
Yeah.
But if you're good at marketing and getting attention and getting leads, you're going to get a lot of business, number one. And then if you're good at sales and converting those leads, you're those two talents are what much more important.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing I learned since being in your coaching program is sales is very important.
Oh man, so important.
You can know all the data, you can know what to paint the house, you can know everything, but if you can't sell, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of the rookie program is we're going to be talking about sales a lot.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think that's for any business, like even social media, for instance, right? Getting people to listen to this podcast, I have to sell.
Yeah.
I have to market and I have to sell and I have to convince you that, hey, this is worthwhile listening to, because there's a whole bunch of other podcasts you could be listening to.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's competition, but it's just like you have only so many hours in the day. And so how you choose to spend them, you know, you're going to go based on who sold you the best. Like, oh, you know what? I want to go watch that new Joe Rogan podcast. He had Kanye West on. Well, he did a good job of marketing and getting Kanye.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why you're going to watch it. But he's also built up a reputation from selling over and over again all these years that, hey, he's got a good podcast.
Yeah.
And obviously it paid him quite handsomely with Spotify.
Yeah.
I think he got $100 million for that.
Dang.
But yeah, I think sales is so important. Where do you think you learned your sales skills from?
I thought about this. One, you know, Craig would teach us, you know, how to handle objections. He would, anytime I had a question, I would ask Craig. When I first started cold calling, what I would do is if someone said, yeah, I want to sell my house, I'm like, oh my God, I know the best broker in Las Vegas, literally the best. Do you have 1 minute to speak to him?
Yeah.
And he's like, sure. Craig, here.
Please close him.
Yeah, please, Craig. And yeah,
no, my sales guys do the exact same thing. They'll get a hot lead and they'll be like, Ryan, you know, this is the situation. Can you just close them? Like, you freaking need to close yourself, dude. You need to learn this.
Yeah. And then slowly I started closing myself, but
Right.
first I leveraged Craig.
Yeah.
And even in our future flipper program, Tony got a deal.
Yeah.
And he got me on the phone with the wholesaler just to help navigate it and make sure that it was done right. Because he was like, got to buy it without looking at it and, you know, stuff like that. He still got the deal himself. But,
Right.
you know, when you're in these programs, you're going to be able to leverage people like me or Ryan or other people in the community.
Right.
There's some big players in the future flipper program already. There's
Right.
guys that have bought in 26 homes a year or more. There's guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I know they're going to be a part of this program also.
For sure. And a lot of those guys you described have not been in the game very long.
No.
You know, to get to where they're at quick. I'll say for me, sales is something that I have learned literally through repetition. So it's funny, when I first started marketing for, you know, getting good deals in real estate, I took the approach that everyone else takes where it's like, oh, I just, you know, do cold call a lot and I just send a bunch of text or whatever and that's it. And I thought that because for me anyways, if you put me in front of a good motivated seller or whatever, like we're going to close, we're going to do a deal.
Yeah.
but I was missing the piece of that. Yeah, you can get leads, but it doesn't mean you'll get deals because these guys aren't good salespersons or people. And so, I started putting them through sales training and buying, all this stuff. And it started to click with me once somebody started explaining it like a puzzle. It was like, well, this happens. This is how you handle this. This is like the sales process of how things happen. And I'd never once thought about it. Like I was a natural sales guy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the natural ability came from negotiating so many couches over the years. Like I probably negotiated 1,000+ couches, between buy and sell, just making low offers, going back and forth, haggling, all this stuff. And it led to being able to do it in real estate. It's the same. You're just negotiating a house instead. It's not the skills are the same. Once you understand the sales process, I could be buying this camera right here from the camera shop and use the same techniques.
Yeah.
And, it is interesting to see that like there are naturals who intuitively already can have the feel of how to handle a conversation and redirect it the way you want it to go. But then there's a lot of people who need to be taught the fundamentals of sales and then, they become great. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they think sales is bad.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's trying to sell me something, know, that's bad. He's persuading me to do something. But I believe in myself as a realtor and investor that I'm the best person to help that client. Because there's been times where I didn't push to get that sale. They went with somebody else and things went really bad. Right. And then I come back and I, help them. So that's why I push hard with my, real estate investing and now coaching. I genuinely feel we're going to be the best coaches in the real estate investing space.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt about it. I also think too, as far as we're talking about sales and I guess what you brought up, like the ethical side of sales, it is what you said. I mean, there are so many people who are indecisive, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to make a decision or, they make the wrong decision, right? And so if you genuinely do care about the prospect and, what's going to happen, not only for you, but them. I mean, it's got to be a win-win, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're selling for your benefit and their benefit. Because if you can't properly convey to them why it makes sense for them, you're probably taking advantage of them, right?
Yeah.
So if you can learn to properly convey that as a win-win, then there's to me anyways, there's nothing unethical about it, even if you are getting a great deal. I mean, at the end of the day, I tell people this all the time, like, running a business has cost, and a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people might see, oh man, they bought a house for $100,000 and sold it for $200,000. They freaking really did one to that seller.
No.
And it's like, no, dude, do you realize that we spent all this money on TV commercials to get that seller to call us? I've got overhead and office employees. Also the fact that you didn't even check how much we put into the renovation.
Yeah.
Also, all the risk and the lenders and everything. Now that we've sold that home, our name's on that home, and anything could happen after. So all the risk associated with this deal, we profited, but nothing is what it seems, I think, to a lot of people.
And people think, oh, they bought this house for $100,000. That's not always the case.
Yeah.
If I pay off $50,000 in liens for the seller, is that going to show up on the tax records? No.
Right. The purchase price might have just been $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, when you were verifying me, remember at the very beginning, I'd be curious to see what you saw. You're like, dude, this guy is killing it.
Yeah.
If you knew what you were doing.
I remember when I first started following you on Instagram, I was like flipping real estate like, I don't know what this guy's doing. You would post pictures of you on like a roof. Right? Do you remember that? Or
yeah.
On a scooter, like with Heel Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand what this guy's doing. But once you get in the game, it's a people business, and you're helping the seller, you're helping your staff, you're helping the contractors, you're helping the buyers, you're helping the realtors, you're helping the escrow. It's a really people helping business.
100%. I mean, really the biggest reason for our success is because of all the relationships we've built and leveraged. Like, I would get so many deals from wholesalers or realtors because they know me, right? And then we would get good contractors because, we're working with them all the time, and, they know me, and they know they're going to get paid on time, and there's not going to be issues. Same thing with employees. Like, they know that we're not going to miss a pay period. We're going to treat them right, and everyone's going to get paid fairly. And if they exceed, they're going to continue to get paid even more. So it's like, if you just do right by people, you're almost guaranteed to have success.
Yes, 100%. And I think that also a big part of my success also has been, God. I've always asked God for, help me make the right decisions. If I've dealt with sellers before where they're like, yeah, I want 100,000. I'm like, wow, that's very low. I'm going to go look at this house. I go and they're just not mentally there. In those situations, I'll say, hey, you know what? I can't buy your house for 100,000, but what we're going to do is we're going to list it for 200,000, and we're going to drive the price up as much as we possibly can for you. And that's good. That's the best thing for you to do, not for me to buy it. And I think God has blessed me because in those situations, I'll do the right thing.
Right. And that's really tough to do.
It is.
Yeah.
There was one guy specifically. He was like, I'll just sign over my house to you. I just need $2,000 to move out. And I'm like, dude, he wants $2,000?
Right.
Like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
And when I showed up, he wasn't all there, but
right.
We helped him get a hotel spot. We helped him sell. We helped him move. So, always do the right thing no matter what the profit is.
100%. And I will say too, there are times where there are sellers who just don't really care about the money and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
We've had times where the seller's like, yeah, I know Zillow says we're 400 and that's what it's worth, but I'm willing to take 300.
I would say most of the time they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's very, once again, we're talking about transparency in the beginning. Like, it's hard to pull one over on someone at this point in the world. Like, there's so much information and resources out there where it's like, yeah, we're all on the same page. We know that this is it. And and this is a sales tactic. One of the best ways that I get deals is by literally telling them how much I'm going to make. Seriously, because this, like, we'll break it down from the top to the bottom. So, like, they'll be at Zillow, right? And they'll say, well, Zillow says it's 300.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, well, that even if you got 300, right, in order for you to get it, you're going to have to fix this. Okay, that's $10,000, whatever. You're going to have to pay the agents and the closing cost and everything. Okay, just call that another 8 to 10%. Okay, so now if you just call it 10%, because, you're going to have repair requests and all these things that they ask you to do, 10% is 30 grand, plus you had to put 10 grand into it. You're already at 40 grand off of that 300. So at your very best case, you're netting 260. Okay. And you're still going to have to go fix this stuff up. You're still going to have to, wait for a buyer and do the 30-day, loan and all that stuff. And I'm over here offering you, 230, whatever, right? I'm telling you, I'll buy it for 230, maybe 240. And literally, I'll tell them, I'm like, so really what you're deciding on is, do you want to take 20,000 less than what you're really going to get?
Yeah.
Is the time worth it to you that it will take? It may be, it may not be. If you got to move tomorrow, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And I'll even explain it to them too. They're like, well, you're going to make a killing at whatever, say 240.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not really, because just think about this. Then I'll add it back up. I'll be like, at 240, I put 10 into it. I'm in it for 250. And I'll be transparent. I'll be like, yeah, our listing fee is way less, but I still got to pay the buyer's agent. I got to pay closing costs. I got to pay my money lender. And I always say, I wish I had all the cash in the world, but unfortunately we have to borrow money to buy this home from investors, and we pay, a high interest rate. And, I'll run the numbers. I'll be like, we're all in this deal at 275.
Yeah.
So if I sell it for 300, I'm going to make 25. And Mr. Seller, I'm not going to take the risk on this house to make less than 25.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'll be like, would you try and flip a house and do all this for less than that? And they'll be like, no, like, I get it.
Yeah. And it's not a one-day process. You don't make $25,000 in one day. You have to buy it.
It's going to be the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not guaranteed.
Yeah, the market could shift. A lot of things could happen. So I have literally found that in all situations, if you just be transparent, whether it be in sales, whether it be on social media, you are going to get sales. That's the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. And 100%. Even be vulnerable too. Just like a lot of sales guys I've seen try and get the bravado. That's why I asked you about the BMW. I'm like, did you get the BMW to have the image or whatever?
Yeah.
And you were like, no, I just kind of wanted it. It was more of I had faith that I was going to be able to afford it because it's something you wanted, right?
Yeah.
But it's you can also go up in a Toyota Camry, mm-hmm. And still get a deal. It's I'm not a big investor, but I can buy your house or I can list your house, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And I think it also shows my mindset where I was moving into a new space. I never thought I would own a BMW.
Right.
I would see BMWs. I'm like, dude, those are so expensive. I had no idea how much they actually cost.
Right.
But, I was like, okay, I'm going to have faith. My life before now is not going to be how it is moving forward.
Right.
Everything's going to change.
Yeah.
So that's why I bought the car.
For sure. Well, I'm going to let you think of one last thing you want to leave the listeners with. Before that, I totally forgot to mention this. Sorry, guys. But we are having a big giveaway for this podcast. So we're going to be giving away thousands of dollars. We're going to be giving away online courses. We're going to be giving away merch. And it's super easy to qualify for the giveaway. Here's what you got to do. Number one, go subscribe on YouTube to The Ryan Pineda Show. It's actually our second channel now. My main channel is just Ryan Pineda. So this is where all of our podcast videos will be. Second thing you got to do, go to Apple Podcast. Make sure you subscribe there and also leave a review. Once you've done those two things, take some screenshots and you're going to submit your proof to ryanpineda.com/giveaway. So I'll repeat that, ryanpineda.com/giveaway. And I want to give you thousands of dollars. I'm literally bribing you to help blow this podcast up. So definitely take advantage of that. So anyways, Brian, what are your final thoughts for everyone?
Final thoughts. Follow me on Instagram at the Brian Davila. And my last thought, I think that, again, I genuinely I know this is going to be the best investing community in the United States. Between you and I'm going to give everything that I have. I'm not going to hold back.
Right.
Since I've met you, you've never held back.
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm always like, dude, I can't believe Ryan just gives everyone. You give your contacts, you give, I use this hard money lender. Yeah. This is my scheme of how I fix my houses.
Right.
You give everything. So that's what you're going to get with the new rookie program.
Yeah, man. Definitely check out the rookie program, guys, futureflipper.com. And work under the new head coach of Future Flipper, Brian Davila.
Let's go.
And I'm telling you guys, we've been training him for this for the last year in my All-Star program. He ascended to being the top accountability coach for the All-Star program. We have a lot of different coaching aspects of that, but accountability is one that's super big. And now he'll also be leading the rookie program. So definitely check that out, guys. And as always, as I said, go check out the giveaway. And we appreciate you for listening. Take care. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.